Well, thank you, Mark, for being here. I'm excited to have a conversation with you.
You're welcome.
So I have to ask, I mean, you're a single male doing, well, not a single male, but you're a single male doing the interview here. You are married, though, correct?
Yes, yes.
How long have you been married?
11 years.
Okay, and how long have you and your significant other been in the lifestyle?
Uh, well, that's hard to answer. We've probably been in and around the lifestyle probably 5 years.
Okay, not consecutively? Is it kind of something that you've gone in, out, back in?
Well, our venture into the lifestyle is more of it started out as more of a curiosity,
Okay,
and then it turned into more of a hobby, and then it morphed into something else.
okay. So
So
who was the one who initiated this interest, this curiosity?
I guess it was me. I
Okay,
guess I did that. Um, my wife and I have always had a very open relationship.
mm-hmm.
We, from the get-go, we had made a decision that we could talk to each other about anything.
Mm-hmm.
There is no fear in our relationship at all. We can talk to each other about anything, and we consciously made that decision because we both have come out of relationships where there were various levels of games being played and stresses in the marriage, and we were just like, we're just not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a conscious effort. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
We're not hiding anything from anybody. So I don't know. I wasn't really looking for this, but I somehow stumbled across this web page for this really cool club. Looked like a really cool club in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't exist anymore, but it was called the 13th Floor.
Okay.
And so I talked to one of the guys that got in contact with him through, I think it was Facebook, and asked him why the 13th floor. And he says, well, if you ever rode on an elevator, especially the older ones, you'll notice it skips from floor 12 to floor 14. There is no 13th floor because it was bad luck for them to name a
the
floor that was
superstition.
13. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think they've gotten past that now because I've seen 13 on elevators. But I thought that was very interesting. And this club was well hidden. It was actually a house, a very large house that was in the middle of a working brickyard. And so you had to know
Yeah.
how to get there. As a matter of fact, it took us quite a while to find it, and we finally followed this other car in through this mechanical gate, and we were like, I hope we don't get freaking killed down here. And that's where it was.
Right.
And so I showed her the website, and I asked her, I said, would you be willing to go check this out?
Mm-hmm.
And so we went and checked this out, and it was kind of like this club, but it was more intense.
Okay.
And
on the sexual side?
On the whole party side.
Okay.
So this club had a dance floor.
Mm-hmm.
It had a DJ. It was bring your own beer, but they had a bartender
Okay.
that did all setups.
Yeah.
And so you would show up with your bottle of liquor, and they would put your name on it. And then you would say, my name is Mark, and we've got the Bacardi or whatever, and they would work that setup.
So it was different.
Oh yeah, it was much more. It was much more lively.
Okay.
It was more. It wasn't a social club. It was
like a nightclub.
It was like a nightclub.
Yeah, but still, where obviously there was an area for you to be able to go and play.
Right, and they had a buffet.
Yeah.
So that you could eat. They had 2 hot tubs outside.
Mm-hmm.
Had an outside bed. They had rooms by themes, right? So,
okay, different.
So they had a big room that was made up of cubbies, and that was for couples who wanted to play without any voyeurism. So this room was very dark, and you would go in, and each bed area had curtains, see-through curtains, but they had curtains, and the rule was that if you played, when you got done, you stripped the bed and deposited the sheet, right, and clean up after yourself. And then they had another room which would allow voyeurs, and that was the Paris theme room. So all the wallpaper had Paris, and then they had these cubbies with these full-size beds, and they had curtains.
Oh,
so if the curtain was closed, right, you could still see through the curtain, but you couldn't interact.
Okay.
And they actually had like stadium seating down this thing. For people to sit.
So that
and
was
watch.
your guys' very first experience into the lifestyle.
Yes.
So did that scare you away, scare your partner away at all? Was that not like almost overstimulating, intimidating?
Well, we're very
because that could be a lot to take in.
It was a lot to take in.
Right. I mean, that's what sounds like more like a full-on kind of sex club. And I mean, if you're not really comfortable and you're not really sure what it is you're looking for, and if you're not really sure of how to navigate that together as a couple, walking into a place like that could feel like a lot of pressure to partake.
And I understand your point. I grew up in this was in Texas, and I grew up in a very conservative house. Mm-hmm. And she grew up in a very conservative house as well, but she had more social interaction in high school than I did. I was kind of the nerd, I never got invited to parties, so I was basically a wallflower.
Right.
So when we got to this club, we stayed very close, and but we met this guy there who worked there, kind of worked security. There wasn't really a security guy there, and he kind of worked security for the club. And we sat down and we talked to him, for like a couple of hours, and he really explained to us about what was going on, about the lifestyle. And then he was like, this is not Caligula. Okay? No means no.
Yep.
And, most of the people here are very polite. And they're very friendly. And the ones that aren't, you leave them to me.
Okay.
So he said, what you need to do is, when you go home, is you need to sit down and discuss your parameters,
your boundaries,
your boundaries, your rules of engagement.
Yep.
Right, and so our rules of engagement for a long time was that if we go to this club or any club like it, is that we were not going to play. We were, and if we got to the point to where we felt like we wanted to play, then we would discuss play, but we would not discuss it at the club.
Okay, so, I mean, obviously that was kind of like your starting point into the lifestyle.
Right.
You guys have been in it now for a while.
Right.
So, do you guys have the rule now where you only play if you play together, or do you guys do stuff separately outside of?
To be quite honest, the rule is now is that if we're going to play, we let the other person know that we're going to play and where we're going to be.
Yep.
And there's a reason for that, and it all has to do with safety.
Absolutely, for sure.
But we don't play a lot.
Okay. So is it more about the community then? Just like-minded people?
Yeah,
feeling comfortable?
I mean, I think we've played once or twice since we've been in Arizona. We've been in Arizona a year.
Yep.
And we had a group. When this club stopped operating, I think it shut down, burned down, whatever. We became part of this group in this little town in Texas, and they would meet once a month. And it was the same people, and we got very comfortable in the group. It was a very setting.
Yep.
It was very comfortable.
Nice.
We were very comfortable there, and we got to discussing our fantasies, and some of those came true, and
So do you find that this has really strengthened your guys' relationship though, and strengthened what it is you guys have together as a couple?
I don't think it's strengthened our relationship, but I think what it's done is, I think it's supercharged our sex life.
I can see that for sure. Yeah.
We had good sex life.
Yeah.
But after our first trip to the club, okay, it was like in overdrive for like a freaking month.
Yeah. The stimulation of it all,
and the
everything.
stimulation of it all. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was like that for me. So that's kind of the way it started out.
Yeah.
My wife was, in her previous marriage, she was married to a guy that was always pressuring her, pushing her to go do this kind of stuff.
And she wasn't comfortable. She
wasn't comfortable. She didn't want to be. She didn't like it. She can't be pushed.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things I wanted to have was an FFM. And I told her, I would like to have this. I said, but I understand your previous husband also wanted to have that, and he tried to press you into that.
Yeah.
I said, this is the way this is going to happen. I've told you I would like to experience this, but you are going to be the one that's going to determine when and with who that's going to happen.
Absolutely. So happy wife, happy life. I've heard it from a few of the guys tonight, and that really seems to be the boundaries of trying to make this work, and you have to have that respect, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I would like to think that my wife is happy whether we're in the lifestyle or not.
Right. For sure. Yeah.
But the lifestyle has changed for me now. My wife, before she got married, and even before she was in high school, my wife, through various stages of her young adult life, has suffered various levels of sexual trauma from men, and she had very deep trust issues.
For sure. Absolutely.
With men. And so what I want now, more than anything, and she's come a long way, I want my wife to be able to experience sex as a joyful thing. Not just with me, to experience sex as a joyful thing. Because women, in general, don't believe that they are deserving of pleasure. Guys take their pleasure for granted. We do. We don't think about it.
Right.
Women, the stars have to align, and the gods have to bless in order for that to take place. Everything has, the spiritual, the mental, the physical aspect of all of it has to line up.
Oh, we got a lot of moving parts going on up here for this orgasm
for that to happen.
Yeah.
For that to happen.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
and the thing is that I want her to be able to feel comfortable in exploring, and to be able to not feel guilty about taking possession of her pleasure. To be able to do that, because I'm quite a bit older than my wife, and I am going to die, and she is going to be having to navigate this part of her life without me, and I want her in a place where she can still have a joyful life, a joyful sexual life, and be able to take possession of that pleasure in whatever form that is.
That is probably one of the sweetest things I have ever heard, that you actually think about that outside of, your immediate relationship, and you think about that long-term aspect for her to be able to enjoy sex, and for her to be able to have, pleasure orgasms on all those things. So, I do think that is actually very, very beautiful that you think of those things, because I don't think a lot of men do, to be honest.
Well, I would
She's
like
a
to
lucky
think
woman.
I would like to think I'm maybe more enlightened than some of my younger counterparts.
You'll just have to teach them a few things then.
Well, there's an old saying that I just happen to like and agree with. Older men deliver what younger men promise.
I like that.
So,
Good. I like that.
I do my best, but I don't push her.
Yeah.
We found this place. There are other clubs in Phoenix that I've been warned about because I've been told that they're basically aggressive sausage fests.
I've heard that, yeah.
And that's not what we're about.
Yeah.
We're about finding friends.
Yeah. And
making
community.
Friends, right? Long-term friends. Like we met some long-term friends here, and we've gone to Vegas, and we've basically seen each other naked, and we have yet to play.
And that's okay, because building the community is what it's about,
we had a
right?
great time in Vegas.
Yeah, I bet. Well, I appreciate your willingness to share, and I appreciate, sharing with the listeners and everybody watching your perspective and your experience of the lifestyle. So thank you very much for coming on here, and thank you for sharing that with us.
You're welcome.